Good afternoon, Parkside. This is Pastor Reid coming to you from my office on this lovely Thursday rainy afternoon. This Sunday morning we started a series, this past Sunday we started a series on the book of James, and I'm going to be preaching for the next few more weeks, 3 more weeks. And because James is a book that has a lot of information in it, I figured we wouldn't get all the way through it. So I had said that I'm going to try and record some video devotionals on some of the smaller things, on some of the passages in between that we may be missing when we're highlighting some of the other passages for the Sunday morning sermons. So, without any more ado, here is the first of those video devotionals. This afternoon, it's hard not to do mornings. To say this morning. This afternoon, I want to just start from the beginning of this book. James writes, I'm reading from the New Living Translation, if anyone was wondering. I like to have lots of different translations. This one is very readable for us. And James writes, this letter is from James, a slave of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ. I am writing to the 12 tribes, Jewish believers scattered abroad. Greetings. Dear brothers and sisters, when trouble comes your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. These are the first 4 verses that the first paragraph that James has here. And as I mentioned on Sunday, it's always good to take note of who the author and the recipient of this letter was. It was a letter. He even identifies it. This letter is from James, a slave of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ. There were a few Jameses in the early church, but this one is most likely James, the half-brother of Jesus, because the other Jameses would not have been leaders enough to merit this kind of authority, or the one who would have possibly was martyred before most scholars believe this book was written. And then he says, I'm writing to the 12 tribes, Jewish believers scattered abroad. So he's writing to people with the Jewish background, and they're scattered throughout the Roman Empire. I love this first section because it both terrifies me and comforts me. He says, Dear brothers, when trouble comes your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, Parkside, I've been pretty well aware the world we live in is quite troubled. Even before 2020 came around, there were lots of problems and lots of things in the world, and each one of us personally had some kind of suffering or things that went wrong. We had struggles with family members. We would have struggles with work issues. Students would have struggles in school. We might feel as though we are being persecuted for our faith, although that doesn't happen. We're mostly maybe laughed at or marginalized, but we might feel like people are treating us differently because of our faith. We might think that people are treating us differently for lots of different reasons. And James says the answer to this is to consider it joy, or consider it an opportunity for great joy. And the reason he can say this, because I don't want to think of that as an opportunity for joy. The reason he can say this is because this is the way God is testing your faith for a chance for endurance to grow. See, the funny thing is, as we grow, we only really grow when we're going through, in our faith, we're only really growing in Jesus when we're going through some difficult stuff or things that challenge us. It's like when I was a counselor at camp for the summer, I used to tell my kids, I used to be told, and then I learned what they meant by this. They said that if you want to get patience, well, they would say don't pray for patience, because God is going to test you to do that. And that was always a laughing thing, because every cabin I had, all the kids gravitated toward me that wanted to break the rules, probably because I was that guy before Jesus. And the patience, your patience would always be tested, and I learned a lot about patience. But the truth is, I'm not going to grow patience unless I actually go through times in which my patience has to grow. And that's the same thing that is true with our faith. We're not going to be mature in our faith unless we actually have times when we have to be more mature than maybe we are or we want to be. If we're not challenged, we're not going to grow. And so James says here, when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. When your endurance is fully developed, you'll be perfect and needing nothing. So God is allowing all of these challenges, and even now in our lives, whether God is causing it, whether it's punishment, I don't know. I'm not speaking to those things. But God is absolutely choosing to use, or will choose to use, if we let him, these things to help grow endurance in our own lives. And so that's my challenge to you this afternoon. We're starting off kind of light, and let the tough times that we're going through right now, the struggles that we are going through as growing Christians, let those struggles be a means for growing endurance in our lives, which will in turn produce, as James said, an opportunity for joy. Well, that's all I've got for this afternoon, Parkside. God bless you. We'll see you, if I get something recorded tomorrow. If not, on Sunday. Have a great afternoon. God bless you guys.